Welcome to another episode of All Things Entrepreneur, where we shine the light on the blind side of entrepreneurship. It's your co-host, Errol J. Allen with
Jessica Myers. How you feeling today?
I am blessed and highly favored. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing well.
Well, I mean, we got another monumental heavy hitter in the building. This dude, I've known him for over a decade. He saw success early, and I'm talking like 19, 18, because I don't want. What was it? Was it Wake Up Now? Was it, or was it something? It was Wake.
Yep.
Yeah, he was one of the big hitters in the Atlanta market for that. He had a big organization. A lot of people looked for him from guidance leadership. Even me, even though I wasn't directly on your team, I saw the moves he was making. I was like, I want to be like this guy. He had a lot more hair at the time too. I do remember that.
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah. So without further ado, let's bring up Mr. Shaq the Shark Wiggins. How you doing today?
Man, I'm feeling good. How about you?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Like, I'm excited. I got high hopes. I know you guys are gonna ask some very interesting questions. I'm looking forward to seeing how interesting it get.
Don't worry, this ain't ATE After Dark. You're gonna be good.
Oh my God.
So for starters, like I said, when I first seen you, you was 19. You was big on the network marketing scene. You was making, like, for all intents and purposes, like doctor money at age 19. But one thing I liked is you didn't let it get to your head. Where did that mindset composure early on? Because again, someone bringing in six figures at age 19, you could, in Atlanta,
Yeah.
you could be doing some wild things, but you stay cool,
I
calm,
know.
collected, and it was always about the business.
Was that around time BMF was running Atlanta?
No, that was a little after Big Meech movement.
I was like at 19. You
Yeah,
running
19. I'm 31 now, just to give
Okay,
context.
okay.
So it's been a while, but not long enough for the BMF wave. But to answer your question, man, I just had a lot on my shoulders at a very young age. Like, I actually grew up in a very different light than most people see me in now. And before I graduated high school, man, I actually got arrested for being out in the street, right?
Okay.
And the crazy part about, I guess, the Cobb County's justice system, it took them a long time in order to make me face that situation, right? So before I graduated high school, I was arrested for multiple felonies. It was crazy. And when I graduated, I changed my life around completely. It was like, hey, I'm not doing nothing illegal. I'm not doing anything that's going to put me in a situation. So when I found network marketing, I was contending with that still, right? So through my whole Wake Up Now career, I was actually fighting. I had that over my head, right? I was out on bond my whole not my whole network marketing career, my whole Wake Up Now career. So I didn't really have the luxury of playing. Right, I didn't have the luxury of just, making a bunch of money, because in the back of my mind, that situation could have went any way, and that wasn't something I wore on my sleeve. I didn't run around telling people, "Hey, I'm dealing with this," because I was still going through it at that particular time, and I knew that it can go any way. So I stayed focused. Every time I made money, I was stashing it, I was investing it, I was, making sure that regardless of what happened with that situation, that I was able to take care of myself and the people I cared about. So that was really big for me, and it kept me focused for sure.
Awesome. So, and we're going to go fast forward a little bit, and then we're going to peel back. I know today you got a weapons company. What all, since then, because you're 31 now, what all has transpired in a quick overlaps? Like, what's been done? What have you got?
Absolutely. So I've started my own network marketing company, which I know you are aware of that. After that, network marketing actually saved my life. At the time, my lawyer showed, just to kind of give you an idea, because I spoke on it a little, I just want to close that out. My lawyer showed the judge I was dealing with that, that what I was doing and how I was changing lives. They pretty much threw the whole situation out, man. I was able to walk away from that situation scot-free. And I took that and I ran with it. I said, you know what? Giving a person like me a chance is the only thing I need, right? So I was able to take that, build my own company. That didn't work out because of bad partners, to be completely transparent. And then I started segueing into trading. I started segueing into investing. And then I just started I got into finance specifically. So in network marketing, I was making at my peak, I was doing like $250,000 a year, which I know now, it's not retirement money at this point, but at that time it was a big deal because I was so young doing it. And I ended up securing $100,000 off my personal credit. And that was a light bulb that went off, because in my career of making all of this money, building these businesses across the country, I never had $100,000 liquid at one time, even though my income was so high, because I was reinvesting into my business, my personal expenses, and all this other stuff. So I realized, like, if I can get access to 100,000 in buying power just by knowing the rules of credit, then I could do that for anybody. So I started my funding company, and I just started diving deep into finance. I helped people last year alone, over $15 million worth of clients secure money. And, just understanding finance, understanding how to get access to money, cheap money is what I like to call it. It completely transformed everything for me. And now, as far as a weapons company, I actually I train, that's just something I do, whether it be the gym, boxing, and firearms training as well. So I seeked out a trainer. I saw this guy. He was super dope when it came to just weapons training. And I reached out to him very humbly, like, hey, look, listen, I really would love to work with you. And he don't really take people on, really at all. He got his own land. And just through conversation, he kind of basically talked to me for over an hour. And he was like, you know what, I like your energy, man. I think I'll invite you to my property. Mm-hmm. And I started training with him. I've been training with him for pretty much all year. And he actually told me what his idea was. He's already been manufacturing weapons, selling them, at a high level. And he just came with these inventions that were like revolutionary. It's going to absolutely change the game in the defense industry. So my knowledge in finance was something that made sense, and we just decided, what, this might be something that we could do together, because I can add a significant amount of value to what you have going on. And what you have going on is already crazy. So, I'm the CFO of his company now. So that's pretty dope. So here we are. So from dealing with those challenges in high school to building a large organization, network marketing, to helping people secure money, to now at this point, being able to be involved in a company that I believe is going to change the defense industry completely. I mean, it's really crazy, to be honest.
I was going to ask you too, because I know there was the biggest high was getting your second chance, obviously, at age 19, 20. But what's some other battles from 21 to 30 that you had overcome as well? Because I know you had, as most entrepreneurs, it's ups and downs.
100%. 100%.
What are some of those obstacles you was able to hurdle over?
Man, being a young entrepreneur, it was one of those things that people looked at me and drew inspiration from. But it was also one of those things that I felt like was a huge challenge, because people felt like they could, for lack of a better term, sun you, like sun me. Like I had people, like I'll give you an example, and I'm going to leave names out of this because some of these people we all mutually
don't even
know.
deserve the heat.
Absolutely, you're right.
Deserve it,
you're right.
You don't want to give them the mention.
Man, what? So I remember I had, just to give you an example of what I'm talking about in real life, I had one guy whom I was working with. And I was already doing this really well in network marketing. And this guy was like, you know what? He had his own level of success. I respected his success because he was much older. And he was basically like, he came with a pitch. He said, look, a lot of people look up to you. You're doing very well. If you tell people that I'm your mentor, and I tell people that you are going to be the biggest thing in this industry, that edification both ways will make us both rise.
And this is deja vu.
Yeah. So I was literally like, you know what? That's a good idea. And this guy did have experience that I lacked at that time. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I didn't learn anything, because I absolutely did. But the reason why we went about it that way, the reason why I said, okay, you're my mentor, was because that was the plan. It wasn't because I ordained this person in a real way. But what ended up happening was, I didn't know it at the time, but he started drinking that Kool-Aid. Like, he started in private talking to me as if I'm his mentee. And it was odd, because it's like, yo, I know we do that in front of the room, but you kind of talking to me crazy, right? And what ended up happening was, man, that company, we made millions. We made millions with that business, and it was a lot of money missing. Let's just say that. And I walked away from that. And I think that I can attribute a lot of that, not because of lack of sense on my part, but because I was so young, and it was because I thought that, hey, I'm a very loyal person. I didn't know how rare that was as a quality, because I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to do my part. I'm willing to do everything who wouldn't want to do that? Isn't that what all entrepreneurs do? But I mean, you guys are entrepreneurs yourselves. You understand that that's not what everybody trying to do.
The power of partnership is crazy.
Yeah, like bringing on a partner, I think, is one of the toughest decisions to make because you actually have to have somebody who have enough integrity to make sure when you make the agreement, they live up to their part. You know, and man, that's hard to find. But I always brought that to the table. So I had to walk away from that business, and it wasn't really a good. It wasn't like one of those things that we were all happy about, and it was very like crazy how it ended. So that was one of the battles. And after that happened, man, I felt crushed because I seen that as an entrepreneur, you kind of have tunnel vision on what you're doing. And I had extreme tunnel vision in my mission at that time. And I couldn't really see myself doing anything from the perspective of having to start from square one. I had ambitions and dreams outside of that one vision, but it was after that mission was complete. You know, so I had it in my mind like, okay, I can make 7 figures doing this. And after making 7 figures, my plan was this. So to have to walk away from that situation in such a negative way, I was still like almost at square one, so to speak. So I had to reinvent myself completely, and that was tough. That was super tough, especially not having a real legitimate mentor, so to speak. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, how do you rebuild trust after that? Like, even to move forward? Because sometimes people get knocked off their rocker and they can't bounce back.
I think that the trust that have to really be reestablished is the trust within yourself. You know, I made the decisions to put people in position. I made the decision to put people where they were. I gave people the power to have the ability to do whatever it was they did. You know, so at a certain point, you start beating yourself up, right? Like, it's not really a external battle whenever you feel what I've just described. It's more of an internal one. So I understood that I went into that situation with the best intentions. I went in there without trying to look over my shoulder. And then I understood, like, it's like I can have the best intentions, but that doesn't mean I don't cover myself, right? So the experience actually taught me you can have the best intentions. As a matter of fact, you don't go into a situation without the best intentions, especially for yourself, right? But that doesn't mean you don't do the business properly. So it made me a sharper business person. So now I know, okay, if we're doing contracts, then the contract got to make sure if this, then that. You know, it's conditions in that contract that protects from these obvious pitfalls to me now. But then, man, the contract I signed for that deal that I'm talking about, it went south. Man, that guy had the ability to take a life insurance policy out on me. All type of stuff. Oh. And I didn't even know that, you know, that's something that I should question. It was just like, hey, okay, this is the document. You know, I didn't even have a lawyer to look over it.
And you was like, what, 22, 20, early
Man,
20s?
21. I was 21. I remember.
Well, I mean, most people who work in corporate, I mean, that's where they get life insurance policies on the people who work there.
Absolutely. I get it. Yeah. I get it. I mean, for some people, that makes sense. But for me, it's like, nah, I'm good. Not taking insurance out on me.
And I think one of the biggest things, because it's one thing if you're doing business and the market changes and it's because of your own vices you fall. Right. But when you trust the individual and it's because of that trust and they don't perform, that hits even more because it's like I showed up for me, right? But you didn't show up for we.
Yeah. So I mean, not even worse than not performing when they're deliberately taking or doing
sabotage.
Yeah, exactly. That's another level. Yeah. Right. But continue.
So my question is going to be for you in terms of like partnerships. What are like 2 or 3 traits or red flags that you look out for in a partner now? You're just like, I don't think this is going to work. Even though it may, business-wise, acumen, they may have it. But if you see 1 or 2 of these, you're like, I can't.
Man, you know, so I look for what they're lacking and why they're lacking it. You know, when my partner with the weapons manufacturing company, one of the things that I really appreciated when it came to him specifically was the fact of how he trained. You can always tell a lot about a person with how they take care of themselves or how they maneuver within their own life. You know, so I look for things that displays the qualities that I want somebody to have behind my back 100%. So if you have things going on in your life that I don't necessarily agree with, even if you're smart, even if you making money, it may not necessarily be a good fit for me because if we clash on ideals, if we clash on certain things that I think are important, then I just stay away. Like it's a lot of people, especially in the Atlanta area that I know. Like I pretty much know most high-level entrepreneurs in this city. I don't deal with everybody, and the reason why is because of just that fact. If your ideals don't align with mine, then I try my best to isolate from scenarios where we have to commingle. I mean, we can do business, but not necessarily from we're representing the same company. Yeah. Exactly, perspective. So I don't know if that answered your question specifically.
That was, that was good. That was. So now let's move back into the weapons stuff. So you obviously had the interest. You met the guy.
Absolutely.
And you all was, hey, let me talk. And then time went on. You finally said, yes, this makes sense.
Right.
What has been some big victories that you've had since then? And what have been some lessons that you've encountered up into present day?
Man, that's a good question. So going into it, we were just kind of talking about it. It was more of like, we're training. Hey, man, I got this idea. He asked me what I did, so I broke it all down to him. And he was like, I'm working on something. And maybe you can, give me some pointers or some ideas based on what you do. And we started talking about it. And it was never from the perspective of, I'm going to involve myself in this way at first. Mm-hmm. And what ended up happening was, funny enough, when I was involving myself, like I was giving him advice, he said, you know what, maybe you can help me with that. So then I'm like, okay, you know what, I got you. Don't even worry about it. So I started involving myself just as a favor, right? And I was reaching out to a friend of mine who I knew could be a good asset to the situation. And he asked me a question. He said, what's your involvement with this? That's how it all came to be. So a good friend of mine asked me, what's your involvement with this? And I didn't have an answer because I was really just throwing the alley-oop. But I knew it was going to be hard for me to connect a person that's in my network without saying I'm involved with this in this way. So I literally told him, I was like, man, honestly, right now I'm operating as the active CFO, but I'm just doing that right now just because that's what's needed. And when I said it to him, I knew I had to tell my partner what I told him. So it's just kind of like, I went back to him and I said, hey, look, listen, I introduced this person to what you got going on because I know they could be an asset. And I told him this because he asked me what was my involvement. I had no intention on actually doing that. And he was just like, you know what? Honestly, I don't even have an issue with that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to draw you up a contract so you could be that. And that's how it happened. And it was just kind of like, whoa, this is getting real. So yeah, that's pretty much how that came to be.
So you was an active CFO. You just told him that because obviously you knew he wasn't going to move forward unless you had a certain level of involvement.
Exactly.
Circle back. You tell him, yo, listen, I told him this. He saw that and said, you know what? I already saw you in that position.
Absolutely.
But it's just a conversation. Nothing happened until you did that. And then he was like, yeah, let's make it official.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. Okay, so you're in the CFO position now. What are some monumental victories or stuff that has happened since then?
Man, just owning my position. I think that I was doing the job of it. We're still in a lot of the development phase of some of the stuff that we're doing. I can't, we under NDA. I'm under NDAs on some of this stuff. So some of this stuff I can't really disclose, right? But I will say this, man. One of the biggest victories is being able to go into a niche or something that I took an interest in personally, and being able to take what I know, the skills that I have or the knowledge that I have in finance, and being able to implement that into something that I know have the ability to be worth, 9 figures, right? Legitimately. And it's not really hard to come by that, just based on the skills that, heck, we all have, to be honest. Like, you're a great entrepreneur, and we've done things like in the Atlanta area that has global application. But because we don't really have the actual catalyst to take it on a global scale, we just haven't seen how to take those skills and apply it to something that has that ability. But man, we've gotten some major offers just for the concepts that this company own. And it's like, holy crap, if they're offering this, then we can take this to market and 100x that, realistically. Because we're not getting those offers on a concept for no reason. It's only because it has real world application. So That was now I have more of a global vision just because I'm a part of something that have global application and nobody can take that away. You know, I think before I was involved in what I'm doing, I kind of always thought about what my team can produce, you know, just us as individuals. But now I can see, like, you know, I can bring on major companies and they'll literally be fighting for our product, you know, so it's just a different feeling. So that was a big win, you know, even if it was just in the mind, because now I can't really go back to playing small.
The fact that someone's willing to throw a contract with a number on it and show that there's worth to it just automatically reaffirms, like, yo, what we're doing is big.
Man, you know what? And that existed before my involvement, you know, and that's the cool part, you know, and that's part of the reason why I'm like, you know what? I'm not even an expert in this in the way that some people are in that world, but what I can bring to the table, most people in that world don't have. You know, and that's the beautiful part. You know, when you think about, you know, a weapon or a gun company, like whether it be Glock, whether it be Smith & Wesson, whether it be any company, it doesn't matter, F&N, you don't think of innovation. You just think, oh, this company produce a gun. You know, which gun do I want? Most people don't even know why they're making the decision they're making, you know, but we have real reasons that our product is superior, and it'll be easy to explain. It's very easy to explain to a consumer that don't know much about weapons, you know. So it's fun, man.
I love it.
It's fun, you know.
I could see you enjoying it.
Oh yeah, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like business, I used to have this saying, and I feel like I gotta correct. I stand corrected because I used to say business is boring, especially good business, big business. Big business is boring. And as I got into this, it was kind of like, dang, you know what? That was ignorant. That was small-minded thinking. Like I was operating from a place of I'm doing something that I know produce a lot of income, but it's not necessarily something that makes me jump up and down and I'm super passionate about, which don't get me wrong, I still don't think it's nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like I would still do that right now, right? But I understand that, you know, because I had that mindset, now I have certain skills that most people don't have. Nobody care. Like nobody want to talk about money all day. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Money is very boring. As much as we want it, it's still boring. People work 40 hours a week in order to accumulate money, but spend no hours through that same week to learn about the money they've been working 40 hours a week to accumulate. They spend no time learning about money, but spend all that time just to make it.
Because that's what I was going to ask. You help people make money, or you help people get access to money.
Yes.
Do they always know what to do with it? Is it that, you know, you give people money and they end up back in the same situation?
Sometimes. And you know, the thing is, I try to educate people, right? But, you know, it's but so much you can do for a person if they don't want you to do that. But, you know, I give people ideas. You know, the beautiful part about the industry that I got in is whenever you're the source of helping a person get access to high levels of capital, people are more likely to give you an opportunity to show them, to teach them. You know, I'm not saying this 100% across the board because it's not, right? As a matter of fact, I think that more often than I expected, people don't listen to anything that I suggest or I say. They just get the money that they supposed to get, and then they gonna, you know, go do whatever it was they wanted to do anyway. But being able to put people in that position is an influential position to be in, because even if they had some certain ideas, you know, you can say, well, you know, that's a okay idea, you know, because I don't tell people that's a terrible idea ever. That's an okay idea, but what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And it puts it's just a real great position to be in. You know, if I help you accumulate $100,000 or $150 or $250, and then at the same time I'm like, hey, listen, I know you wanted to do this, but, you know, have you considered X, Y, and Z? Now I'm helping this person deploy $250,000 that they didn't even have without me, you know, involving myself in their situation. And that's a lot of economic power.
Wow.
So obviously a lot of entrepreneurs, and well, you don't have to give like super nitty gritty unless you want to. A lot of entrepreneurs want to get access to funding, but they're not able to. They're not compliant. They ain't got the structure in place.
Right.
What are some things that kind of lines it up to be in the best position to get those bigger lines or bigger funding amounts?
Man, you know, it's all about understanding the bank is actually selling those products, right? Like the bank is trying to, like, they're in the business of giving away money, right? People don't know that. Like, people go to the bank to make deposits and to, you know, keep accounting of where they are financially, but the bank actually make money. I mean, they make money a lot of ways, but they make money from deploying money as a loan and selling that loan to a third-party company. So they want to give as many loans as possible. But in order to give the loan, in order to sell the loan that they gave, that client has to qualify at a certain level, right? They can't sell bad loans because nobody want to buy a bad loan, right? So in order for you to get the money that the bank is like begging to give away, you have to meet certain qualifications. That's where credit comes in, right? Like people treat their credit score kind of like, I can get that car, I can get that house. They treat it from a consumer perspective, but that's not really what it's for. America was built on, the foundation of it was, hey, we'll give you this so you can build. That's what it's all been about. People migrating from all of these different places for opportunity, and the opportunity is we're willing to give you this if you give us that, right? So to answer your question, it's all about structuring your personal credit. I'll go into detail, man. I don't care. You need at least 5 trade lines. Boom. There you have it. 3 of them have to be primary. And in Atlanta, people love to use authorized user accounts. It's like, authorized user this, authorized user that. You can go but so far with that. You need at least 3. They know the game. It's over, right? You can't do that. No, you can't do that anymore. You need at least 3 on your personal, and then you can do AUs for the other 2. And that right there is the minimum criteria for your personal credit. You're not building business credit with a terrible personal credit. The personal credit profile, that's not happening. Because I hear people talking about this all the time, like, can I just build a business? My personal credit not really good, but if I build a business and there's no personal guarantor, then I'm good. It could be no personal guarantor, and they still want to see what you look like personally. Mm-hmm. They'll do a soft pull just to see, like, is your personal life in shambles? And if it is, they don't want to give you money on your business because you can't even keep your house in order. That makes sense. Like, let's be logical as people, right? When you're building your business, you want to make sure that you have a company website, a business phone number. You want to make sure that you have trade lines. They have different tiers. You can look this stuff up. I promise you. You can Google this if you want. You got tier 1 trade lines. You got to do it in order. Don't try to go to, step 5. Do step 1. It takes time and it takes investment. I promise you. I tell people this all the time. If you don't have $5,000 to invest into your business, and when I say invest into your business, most people assume that I mean inventory, marketing, a sales team, cool website. Don't get me wrong. You need all of that stuff. But that's not the first investment that you're supposed to make into a business. The first investment you're supposed to make into a business is in the business, literally, like the LLC, the paperwork. Structure your business properly. If you take $5,000 and put it into the business and structure it properly, you could literally start qualifying for 6 figures. Why would you be trying to focus on, if you only have $5,000, why would you be focusing on inventory? How many times do you have to flip $5,000 for it to be 100? That's a 20-time multiple. That's a lot. You know how long how long it'll take to flip 5,000 20 times? And that's if you do it precisely, consistently, precisely. Like, that's not easy for anybody by any means. A 20 times multiple, that's crazy. Warren Buffett not doing 20x multiples.
Stocks,
yeah. And we revere him as the greatest investor of all time, right? If you're looking at the numbers, if he's the greatest of all time and he's not doing a 20x multiple, why you think you about to do a 20x multiple and you don't even have a lot of experience in business? It makes absolutely no sense. So if you got $5,000, take that money and build out your credit, build out your business. Now you got access to $100,000 in buying power. What's the difference between $100,000 in buying power and $100,000 in cash?
The difference between $100,000 in cash.
It's like a cup that you can keep refilling versus going out one time.
Okay, I understand what you're saying because you're saying revolving rather than just having it in cash.
Yeah.
The difference between $100,000 in buying power and $100,000 in cash.
Because cash loses value.
Okay.
I honestly don't have a good concise answer.
It's okay because the answer is it is no difference.
That's why I was like,
It is no difference. The difference is it's all money. Mm-hmm. If you have access to $100,000 and you flip $100,000 one time, how much you got? You got $200,000. You can use the $100,000 and pay that first $100,000 back, and now you got $100,000 in profit. It's so much easier to flip $1 to 2 than it is to flip $1 to 5.
Yep.
$1 to 20 because the example I gave was a 20x multiple. I saw this interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was on the
FYI.
Yeah, well, however you pronounce it.
Just making sure you don't get slaughtered. That's all.
Hey man, What do you want from me? Take notes on the knowledge, man. If you one of those people that stick to like, man, you're gonna have a hard time in business.
You know they out there.
I don't care about the detail. I care about making sure we get to the bank.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So he was doing an interview with a morning show, and he was like they was asking about money stuff. You know, he's an actor, right? They asking actors about money stuff because he have a lot of money. Right. And he was like, they say making your first million is the hardest. So what's the best advice that you can give? He was like, well, focus on your second million. And it was quiet, just like it is right now when he said that. Everybody was literally doing the same exact thing.
You got to think about that.
And then you know what he said after that?
What?
I'm just joking, guys. And everybody started laughing. But when I heard it, I heard something completely different. I literally heard him say exactly what everybody should be doing. Securing other people's money and leveraging other people's money to start making yourself money. If that's your focus, it's so much easier to make $100 when you're operating from having 1,000. So much easier. If you go from 0 to 100, do you know what you got to do in order to go from 0 to 100? A lot more labor, a lot more work.
A lot of backbreaking
It's easier to go from 1,000 to 1,100. It's so much easier because you have the leverage of what?
Existing capital.
The $1,000. Yep. So all you got to do on 1,000 is make a 10% profit.
Oh wow!
But with zero,
you got to make 100x.
Now you gotta. It's nothing you can offer the world except for sweat equity.
Yeah.
People don't even use these words. Sweat equity. That's the only thing people understand when it comes to making money. But when you have actual equity, when you actually have cash, then you can leverage that cash to do pretty much anything. If you have access to $100,000, this is a great number, right? If you earn 10% on $100,000, that's $10,000. See, like people hear about like the cash flow quadrant. I'm pretty sure you guys are entrepreneurs. Y'all know about the cash flow quadrant, right? The cash flow quadrant is super powerful. And the reason why it's powerful is because of this. Robert Kiyosaki said that you have employees and you have self-employed people on the left side of the quadrant. Mm-hmm. And then you have business owners and you have investors on the right side of the quadrant, right? 5% of all of the wealth in circulation is on the left side of the quadrant, while 95% of the people are there. So you got 95% of the population competing for 5% of the money. Yep. While 5% of the population is on the right side, which is the business owners and the investors, and they're competing for 95% of the capital that's in circulation. You understand how crazy that is? That's the reason why most people don't have and only a few people have. Because most people not playing the game of the people on the right side of the quadrant. The reason why I'm able to just shoot this stuff out of my mind like this, I don't have to look at the actual cash flow quadrant to know this because I studied this stuff. I understand it to be law. This is where the money actually is. So if you have 100,000, you can operate from which side? The right side.
Yeah, the right.
You could be a business owner. You could be an investor. Yeah. That's where 95% of the money at.
Yeah.
So how do you get from where you are to where all the money is?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, it's almost like a journey because really you start off employed to learn some skills.
Right.
Because you have to learn structure and all of that. And
right.
then you venture into being self-employed and realizing, then now I grow into becoming an investor.
Right.
And then now a business owner, which has the business operating and I have human capital.
100%. It takes skills. Yeah, absolutely. It is. It takes skills to go to the right side of the quadrant. But where most people are missing it is when they're on the left side, they invest no time or capital in order to learn how to be on the right side. And also, like when they watch a free interview like this, you guys posting this up for free, right? Mm-hmm. They let it go in one ear and out the other.
Yep.
They don't actually apply what they just heard. I literally just broke it down.
Yes.
You got $5,000. What should you be doing?
Business structure.
You look that up. Chat GPT, all this it's available.
Yep.
You could do it. It's not really that deep. But what most people, the problem is, it's like, oh, I just worked all of these hours to accumulate this 5,000. They look at money as a tool for living. And don't get me wrong, it is a tool for living, but it's not only a tool for living. It's a tool for leverage. You got to get out of that mindset because that is an employee and a self-employed person mindset, right? Like money does help you live better, but it's more use than just helping you live better. You could actually learn better. You could actually operate better, and you can operate with leverage. You have to use that money to pay for things that's going to make you more money, which in this case, a structured business. Even if you took the 5,000 and got access to 100,000 and messed up, you'll be in a better position, in my opinion, than you would be if you never did it.
Yep.
And the reason why is because now you have the experience.
You can pull from that.
The experience will teach you. It's like I built a business, a multi-million-dollar business, and it got ripped from under my feet. That sounds terrible. It was. But now I have the ability to look at contracts and understand, oh, nah, we're not doing this. In order to do this deal, we got to structure it like this. And I can advise people who never experienced that.
Yeah.
I have certain abilities now that experience taught me. So Buddy was kind of my mentor a little bit.
Yeah.
He showed me.
He taught you something.
He taught me. You know,
something you never thought.
Oh yeah. So it's a saying. The saying goes, and I'm gonna let you ask the next question. But the saying goes, when the man with the money meet the man with the experience, the man with the experience walk away with the money, and the man with the money walk away with the experience.
That's the same phrase my ex-mentor told me when I started off wholesaling, to a T. I literally lived by that.
Yeah. 100%.
Wait, can you repeat that one more time?
When the man with the money meets the man with the experience walk away with the money, and the man with the money walk away with the experience. In my situation, I was the man with the money. So I walked away with some experience. You hear me? Woo!
Heavy on the experience.
Heavy on the capital E in experience.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah, 100%.
So one last question. I'm going to switch over to a different segment.
Shoot.
But what are, because you said you study this stuff, and honestly, we can tell.
Yeah.
3 to 5 impactful works, literatures, videos that, you know, people need to tune into.
Man. Dang. I'm 3 the most impactful ones. Richest Man in Babylon. It's not even but it's a compressed version by Napoleon Hill. You can YouTube that. It's 30 minutes.
You ain't got 30 minutes.
YouTube that. Richest Man in Babylon, the Napoleon Hill version.
Okay.
Man.
And I love Napoleon Hill.
What? Fire.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to give the cliche ones. Because I know like every podcast people say the same ones. I want to say Rich Dad Poor Dad, but forget that one. I'm not even going. That's an honorary mention because you probably heard that somewhere else. But The Alchemist, fire.
I did not preface this. I did not set him up. I did not ask him to say that.
Yeah, most people don't talk about that one.
I knew it was coming.
You knew I was gonna say that?
Because every single episode is my favorite book single-handedly on Earth.
Okay.
That's actually the cliche.
Really? So she recommended that?
We got that on multiple episodes.
Okay, so I gotta throw something else. So
but I love The Alchemist is one of my favorite books because it teaches you that the treasure within, but it took the whole journey to
100%. So I heard that one from Will Smith, and when I ordered it, and when it came, I was like, man, I'm about to read a page or two of this. I read the whole book in one sitting.
Exactly.
On accident. And I was just like, dang, this was good. But I'm okay, that's not one then. That's not one.
Maybe I need to read the book.
Oh, bro.
Then, because
what?
I listened to the audio and it just didn't impact me like that.
Man, you know, and it might not be, it may be because, did you listen to it all in one segment?
No, I was
yeah, exactly. And you were probably doing things when it was going. Yeah, 100%. So, all right. So just to give you the premise, right? The story is crazy because this guy started off, in a very terrible position. He went through all of the stuff he went through for just to hear somebody at the end of the story give a premonition and talk about how crazy the premonition was, and it brought him right back to where he started. And bro, when I tell you, like, that's so true when it comes to pretty much all of this stuff. Like, even the stuff that I'm talking about right now, like, when I start talking and this stuff spew out of me, I spend a lot of time in solitude, right? In isolation because I study, right? Mm-hmm. And when this stuff comes out of me, I realize, like, when other people are playing around, I'm building. And when I finally have an opportunity to spew this stuff out, people are like, yo, this is crazy. But while I'm actually doing it, it don't feel as crazy as it comes off.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
You're just talking English.
Yeah, it's just like normal. But when people don't spend their time doing what you're doing, you don't really feel the impact of the journey or how significant it is. That's what that story helped you understand clearly. And the connection, the way it connects is so significant that as you're doing the training, because you work out, we talked about this. When you're doing the training, it does not feel as significant as it really is. Mm-hmm. because you got to do it all the time. It's just like part of your routine now. But when you come across somebody who don't train at all, it becomes overly apparent and obvious. It's almost like that's almost like pathetic to you a little bit, low key, right?
No, you are.
It's
exactly
like
right.
what were you doing all this time?
Yes.
They weren't doing the stuff. You know, and it's easy to do, but it's easy to not do.
Exactly.
And it's way easier to not do. But you don't really think of that when you're in the habit of doing.
Exactly. Yep.
Bro, that book, it just helped me understand that these daily checkoffs of doing is way more significant than we kind of tell ourselves as we're doing it. So
like you just said a whole mouthful in that. Like, because like you said, people aren't doing, the average person's not doing the work.
Right.
They're listening and wondering, but they're not putting in the work because the simple things of what you do at your free time, what you do at your quiet time. Like, I used to be 60 pounds heavier.
Wow.
And like you said, the consistency of going to the gym. I started, like, when I lost one of my projects, it took me out. Yeah. And I started training for a 10K. But then now all of a sudden, and to me, it's just like, okay. We're here going to the gym. But when I see people, they're like, wow. And I'm like,
trust me. I used to weigh 125 pounds.
So you're the opposite.
He's not lying.
No.
I seen him young.
Yeah. Weigh 125 pounds. I'm like a little under 160 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get it.
Work in the gym.
It's the hard yards.
Yeah.
And then that's the power, because one of the things, every time I think about the Alchemist, is the time when he's in the Desert Storm. And he needs all of that to get to the point where they have premonition.
And all of that he went through was just to hear somebody say that one thing. It's like, what? You just described where I started. I know. And nobody else can hear that thing but him, and for it to resonate. So he had to go through all of that just to have that one moment. But if he didn't understand the magnitude of that moment, all of it would have been for nothing.
And that, I'm getting chills now just talking about it.
Again, I'm going to give it another listen. I can see the passion between y'all.
Hey, man.
I'm going to give it
don't give it another listen. That didn't work for you the first time.
So get the book.
You know,
all right, I'm
insanity is doing the same thing multiple times and expecting different results.
You're right.
So book number 2, because that don't count. If y'all already done threw it out there 100 times, Laws of Success.
She's the ambassador for that one.
Yeah, no, for sure. For good reason, though. For good reason. I'm with you. Laws of Success.
I've been through a journey.
Yeah, for sure. Laws of Success. I'm trying to think of who the author of Laws of Success.
Isn't that Napoleon Hill? I mean, Bob Proctor?
It might be. Don't quote me. Laws of Success
Bob Proctor and Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, it's one of the two.
They're the same to me. I have to remember they're different people.
So Laws of Success is the title. Don't quote me on the author. I'm firing from the hip right now, guys.
Napoleon Hill.
And
Napoleon Hill.
Okay, cool. Napoleon Hill. Look that up. That's a really good one. And Propaganda by Dale Carnegie. I think it's Dale Carnegie wrote Propaganda. And that's not super popular. It's not a super popular book, but well, it is a super popular book, but I don't really hear a lot of entrepreneurs talking about that. Okay. You know, but it's super important because it talks about, a lot of people don't know this, but Dale Carnegie was like responsible for the American diet, especially breakfast.
Yeah. I did not know that at all.
And also women smoke. Absolutely, women smoking cigarettes. They called it torches of freedom. You know, and that was part of the basically trying to get women to enter the workforce and do certain things so they can tax 2 people in one household. Like, it's so many ideas or concepts that we socially accept. Like, you know, I hear people arguing about 50-50, 100 this, my man need to be this. And a lot of this stuff is people attempting to battle against propaganda. And they don't really understand what they're doing or why they're doing it. But a lot of these concepts that we accept to be truth are ideas that come from people. The reason why you wake up in the morning and you have a desire to just want eggs, want sausage, want whatever it is everybody else do. Why is it that everybody want the same thing? It's not coincidence.
It's marketing.
It's marketing and it's propaganda.
Wow.
Hey, this is the best thing to eat. You know, he actually even wrote they're actually responsible for all of the literature that doctors study. So they push you in a certain direction, and they back it up with authoritative figures, and they make you think that these thoughts are your thoughts. The most powerful thought that a person can have is a thought that they think that they thought themselves, right? If you think that is your unique thought, like, oh, I love this thing, do you? I mean, it would be a beautiful thing when people say, I love this thing, and they're talking about something you sell, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. He was actually hired by the dairy industry because it was failing.
And that's what I was going to say, the food pyramid.
Yeah, they have Got Milk. That Got Milk thing where, you know, they had the white milk.
Yeah,
mustache.
I let you guys finish it. And the reason why I let you finish it was because they were we didn't go to school together. Why was that in your school and in my school? Every school had the same idea, the same unique idea. Let's put up this poster. I just liked when Michael Jordan got the milk mustache. No, that was an agenda. And we all accept these things as truth. You know, one of the best places I think people can go. That's how many books was that?
That was the third one.
That was the third one, right?
Oh, yeah, we did skip over.
Yeah. A lot of people accept a lot of ideas because they were sold to us. I think everybody should not just visit places like the jail, but you should also visit hospitals. You know, go to ICU and start looking at like what people are going through and why. Start figuring that out. Then you can kind of reverse engineer how they ended up there, because that's a place nobody really want to go. Yeah. Nobody want to go to, you know, where the sick are. But a lot of people are headed there anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And that's one of the things I learned when traveling abroad. I was like, wait, people don't eat their food the same. The way all these restaurants that we get away with here in the States, they don't allow that in other countries.
Right.
And that's when I start understanding about who wrote the food pyramid.
Right.
Because it was like, dairy is never good for us.
Right.
I was like, if cheese is on anything of what you're recommended to eat, that lets me know your agenda right there. Like you said, from when I realized that AMA was like the #1 company in the world, and they were the ones responsible, you know, they were partly responsible for the food pyramid.
100%.
It's like,
100%.
They're sending their customers straight to them, and they're trying to get them as young as possible.
And they also putting their doctrines in universities and making doctors study it. So whenever you run into the initial problems like lactose intolerant, like what is lactose intolerance? It's not a real thing.
No,
your body's naturally rejecting something that it shouldn't have, but they deem it as a disorder or dysfunction, and they give you things to give you the ability to stomach things that your body's naturally rejecting. You know, and this is coming from a medical place. I'm not gonna get too deep. Like, I'm not trying to get sniped, right? Like, you already know. But Dr.
Sebi stuff, so maybe I'm not the person.
Yeah, no, 100%. But you know, a lot of this stuff it goes hand in hand with, you know, success when it comes to, you know, business and all this other stuff, because without a clear mind you can't be successful. You know, a lot of people can't will themselves to not watch Netflix for 5 hours because they just got finished from eating cereal for breakfast, and they just got finished from eating things that make your mind not operate at the optimal level. So when you hear these things that I'm talking about, you can't operate from a higher perspective. Even though you have the desire to do it, your body will not give you the ability on a subconscious level, because you're consuming things that continue to put you in an erratic place.
Yep.
And you keep leaning on your comforts because the comforts make you feel, you know, subtle. You don't want to do things that make you nervous because your nervous system start acting up. And when your nervous system start acting up, it causes you to revert back to what you're used to and comfortable with, because you're already in a chaotic space, but you're so used to it that you don't even recognize it.
Oh, you just dropped so many bars.
Yeah.
No, I love it. And I ate I was eating all of it. I love it because, like you said, it's part of the journey. And the journey, you understand all of those things that you were able to extract out of the process.
100%.
That's amazing.
So outside of obviously business, studying, finance, and everything, who is Shaq? What do you do for fun, leisure, outside?
Man, you know, training. I mean, training my mind obviously is something I'm big on, but training literally, like the gym, I'm really big on that. You know, shout out to Mike Bless, man. He put me in the gym. He said, you can't just have your money right. Yeah. He said, you just can't have your money right. You got to have your body right, man. We getting money and muscles. And he took me to the gym by force. And, you know, he a big dude. You ain't going to tell him no, right? And, man, I haven't looked back. Training in every way. So, like, weapons, you know, I'm looking to get my pilot's license soon. I took my first discovery flight. Oh, nice. You know, 100%. Like, I am really big on just being the best version of me for later. You know, because I want to be, you know, when I'm 40, I want to look back and like, man, the dude that was working in his teens, 20s, and 30s, man, he set me up. You know, because I think the future version of me is a different person than the current version.
Yep, agreed.
I don't think of him as me. I think I got decisions to make right now that will either be his failure or his success. So
I love it.
I think about that a lot. So I enjoy doing extreme stuff. Like, I want to jump out of a plane. I'm not going to continue to learn how to fly. I took my discovery flight. I'm not going to continue to learn how to fly until I learn how to jump out of a plane. And I know people, like, I talked to a couple of pilots about that theory, and they said that's crazy because you legally can't jump out of a plane if it's going down. You're supposed to park it. You know, they actually make you learn how to land a plane when the engine is off.
Yeah.
Right? But if it's looking like it's going too south,
I'll deal with the consequences later.
I will be what? What?
Hey, sometimes you gotta know when to pivot.
You gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them. You hear me? I'm not learning how to fly until I learn how to fly through the sky. You understand me? But yeah, I like that type of stuff, man. And yeah.
So obviously you've been through a good journey. You've seen a lot of ups, seen some downs as well.
A lot of downs. Don't emphasize the downs as if it was fewer than the ups.
I got you.
Probably more of those.
So reverse, a lot of downs, just as some ups too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what would you say for starting off entrepreneur who's, coming into the space? Because again, there's somebody right now who is sitting on the couch and saying, you know what, I want to do this, and what you're saying is making so much sense. What would starting off entrepreneur, 3 tips or tricks, 3 pieces of advice you would give for them starting their entrepreneurship journey?
Man, I'm about to say something that a lot of people, I think the early version of me would deem this to be corny, but like, man, the most valuable asset you have is yourself. I think that in our culture, especially, like, we attribute value to what we have or what we can do. And, man, the most valuable thing that you can have as an asset is you. And the reason why, no matter how many downs, no matter how many ups, I don't really change, as far as me personally, because I understand that I bring the value to everything that I have, or I'm the valuable resource, right? And once I came to terms with that, it changed everything. You're not what you have. You're not what you've done. You can make the decision to be anybody you want to be right now and just be consistent with that. Not saying that you can't make enough bad decisions where people will start looking at you like a bad person, because you definitely can do that. But you also have the ability to make the decision to be better. What you eat, how you treat people, how you behave, how you treat yourself, is key, is super key. I think that was one of the lessons that I wish I would have been more focused on early on. Just to make that and hone that idea in specifically. Like, I had a business, we were talking about network marketing, and I used to think about this to myself, right? Because network marketing is about sharing whatever it is you buy. You buy something, you tell other people about it, they pay you if other people buy it. I used to think to myself, my business, if it's not working the way I want it to work, it's because I'm not who I need to be for the business, right? A lot of the times we attribute everything to money, and I get it. Money's important. Like, go get you some of that. But I used to think to myself, if Oprah Winfrey did my business, she would be 1,000,000 times more successful than I am right now. So the goal isn't about making sure my business is 1,000,000 times more successful. The real true goal is to be a person of value so I can be like Oprah Winfrey. Because when I say I'm doing this, because I'm the person that does it, it has a significant amount of value. But in order to get to that point, you have to do a lot of things that requires discipline, and that requires you to be the best version of you.
Internal work.
So focusing on you is the most important work that you can possibly do. That's some advice that I would give anybody who's trying to start off. And then structure your stuff. Structure your life.
And then get that 5K.
Get that money, man. Put that money in the right place. If you going to work all day and you really tired of doing it, you have to start doing stuff like that is going to change your situation. And the thing that I think changed my situation when it came to my mindset was understanding structuring. Because here's the cool part. Once you learn how to structure yourself, a lot of people don't know how to do it. If you only accumulate 100,000 for yourself, you got the information now. All you need is more people to implement the information. And you pull 10 people together, y'all got $1 million in buying power. If you only implement the information that you did, it's not even hard. It's like just a little organization and you understanding what it is you're trying to do, and you could do anything you want to do. Because anybody, I don't care who you are, I don't care where you are, you can accumulate $5,000. It might take you some time. You might have to be disciplined. You might not be able to eat out the way you want to. You might, if you got kids, you might not be able to do what you normally do on their birthdays. You might not be able to do what you want to do on your birthday. But once you implement what I'm talking about, every day could be like their birthday.
Yeah. But
you're going to have to put it in the work, because ain't nobody's going to do it for you.
Yep.
That part.
So, yeah.
Anything else in conclusion?
I mean, that was powerful. How can people get in contact with you, or what ways can they work with you?
So, social media, on everything, Shaq the Shark, 2 Q's, SHAQQ the Shark. You said in the beginning of the podcast, Wiggins, my last name Shark now, legally. BewareShark.com. And I got a program where I'm teaching people how to do structuring all the way through and through. Just learn it, man. Yeah. Even if you don't do my program, it doesn't make me any never mind. But I do think that you should do something with somebody who has proven results. You know, so find somebody who can teach you, even if you self-taught. Because I taught myself 100%.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you got access. You got I have results. I have these things.
Absolutely.
Like, hey.
Absolutely. 100%.
Rolodex is crazy.
I love it.
The Rolodex results is crazy.
Well, yeah, I was like, I'm not even saying thank you for, like Andre said when he came here, like, look, if you're not taking notes and you're not writing the stuff down that we're giving away gems for free, then crazy on you. If you're not applying what we're talking about and going back through, looking through, I mean, I took so many mental notes. I'm going to go back through in this video and write down examples because literally how you lay it out, the framework of what to do from nothing, from something to scaling. It's 100%. Been amazing. Thank you.
No problem. Thank y'all for having me. You know, it's always been a pleasure. Every time I see Errol, man, he up to something bigger and better.
Thank you.
Yes,
super dope,
and
man.
it was
excited.
Nice meeting you.
The pleasure was all mine. I heard some great things about you, so, you know, it's pleasure's mine.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited. Well, hey, thank you guys for tuning into another episode of All Things Entrepreneur. Be sure to subscribe and like we said, tap in. We are giving away a lot, like you're talking about 9-figure information that people don't know about from people that are studying, that are doing, that are executing. So be sure, as always, you know, you got it. Let's get it.
Let's go.